Hey, Steph, you know what the difference between convenience stores in Houston and Brazil is?
No.
Clerks in Brazil are armed.
Oh, ouch. Ouch. Harsh, but true.
We're going to get letters about that one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa.
And I'm your Saturday co-host, Stephanie Widener, and we do appreciate all of our Houstonian viewers, but today's video is out of Brazil.
We mostly appreciate our Houstonian viewers for all the content your city generates.
Palm pepper spray is next generation OC spray. It's hot at 1.4% major capsaicinoids, and its modular design means you can customize it exactly to you. 3 different setups, lots of different color combinations. You can make it exactly as you like. And the flip top safety prevents accidental discharges. It's 10 to 12 foot range and 25 half-second blasts. Make sure that you can keep that long range eye poke at long range. I trust Palm OC and I recommend it for everyone for self-defense.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum come rolling up here on their moped into this pharmacy. Now, unbeknownst to the pharmacist inside, Tweedledum there in the yellow cap is going to show and kind of talk about the fact that he has some kind of weapon, I think a gun, that he is going to show right there and say, yo, give me the money out of the till. And the driver's going to kind of think about coming around the back. Well, watch what goes down here, because Tweedledum is going to catch a bullet. And so does Tweedledee, because the guy behind the counter has a gun, because he's an off-duty Polícia Civil here in Brazil. He is a cop. And so he's going to pop both of those guys, hit them both. Now, the driver, who was second out the door, by the way, lays down and regrets his life choices. Our other guy appears to have run off, but let's see what goes down here. Here in just a second, our defender is going to show up and put a knee on this guy, get his hand behind his back, and kind of frisk him a little bit, but he's really paying attention down the street because Tweedledum has not run away. I don't know if he fell over or whatever, but you're going to see him come back on screen with a couple of new piercings that he has earned. And he is going to lay down and regret his life choices as well. Now, you're going to see a couple of people eventually show up to see what happened. They're not going to be real helpful. And I think our defender here is getting off screen. I'm almost positive what he's doing there is retrieving the gun that Tweedledum dumped, because you can see it in his left hand there. And they held both these guys, took them both into custody, took them to the hospital first to deal with their gunshot wounds, and then to the police station to face the many charges that they have coming to them. I know the Houstonians are getting after us for making fun of their fine city, but seriously, I have been 4 days in Houston, Texas, and only missed out on a gunfight because I was smart enough to see it coming. So I'm like 1 for 4 on days in Houston at damn near getting in a gunfight. So don't talk to me about your beautiful city. You know, this is how armed robberies start all the time. Bad guys get to set the time of the attack. They're only going to tell you about the gunfight at the very last second. But you know, it's an interesting thing from a human performance factor here that we see all the time, Steph, that this guy kind of checks here first, right? So this is what we would call a weapon check. And if you're paying attention, we always say the eyes may be the windows to the soul, but the hands are the windows to the intent. And this weapon check might have given our defender a little heads up that bad stuff might have been coming.
It certainly should be something that a person should be looking for, adjusting or grabbing anything at the waistband. We know that holster or not, that bad guys tend to carry their weapons around their waistband, and especially sans holster, there needs to be some adjusting to make sure things are going to be where they need to be, because he needs to be able to show it to our pharmacist here in a minute to threaten him with it. So if you're watching for that and can see that weapons check, particularly in a place where someone, a civilian, should not have a weapon, you have a pretty good heads up about what's about to happen.
Yeah, and here's a pro tip for all of our concealed carriers. You're probably doing this too, and doing these weapon checks all the time and doing these weapon adjustments. And when you are, you're showing savvy bad guys that you have a gun on you, okay? So learn how to not do weapon checks, because if you're paying attention and you're seeing the right things, that's one of the things these videos do, is show you how to check the right visual cues and know what your go signals are. Now, as things are going to go forward a little bit, he's like, yo, man, I need a thing, so open up the till for me and sell me a thing. Then he's going to now kind of show him the fact that he has that, announce the robbery, and look away. Now, let's think about the fact that our guy decides to shoot him here. Well, wait a minute, he hasn't pulled a gun, so Steph, the gun is still in his waistband. Is this a justified shooting?
It absolutely is. What he did just a moment ago was threaten to murder this man if he didn't comply to him. It can take him anywhere from half a second if his hand is very, very close to a weapon, up to a second and a half, 2 seconds to get that gun into play. It's absolutely reasonable that you act preemptively. This is an objective, reasonable, imminent threat. The threat doesn't need to be in the process of commission. Like, if you can say, hey, this is about to happen right now, this guy just said to me, I'm going to murder you if you don't comply, well, you can act.
Yeah, absolutely you can. So recognize, absolutely justified. Now, how fast do you need to be in this kind of situation? Well, the honest truth is faster than the bad guy. Now, if you're drawing in this kind of situation, you get the advantage, right? From a human performance factor, he's got that gun on him, has threatened you with it, but he doesn't have it in his hand, so he has to get it in his hand. In order for him to start doing that, he's got to see you drawing and get going. So you get at least a 0.3 to 0.4 second advantage. So how fast do you want to be in order to beat this guy? Well, I mean, that's on you. And how much work do you want to do? Again, if you're in the Active Self-Protection Unlimited app, go watch the evidence-based pistol skills class. We'll show you how to get down to a 1.5 pretty darn fast. And you can even get that in your home while watching those. And that'll help you in a pretty significant fashion to get fast enough that they probably can't beat you. Now, he does end up here in a 3-second span from first shot to last, shooting both these guys in the back. And I know in some places, and some folks are gonna be like, hey man, you can't shoot somebody in the back. But we say this again and again, it's not about where you shoot somebody, it's about why.
Right, and we talk about not wanting to engage in or shoot at fleeing felons if you can avoid it and that sort of thing. That said, we don't have any objective reason to believe or to know, are they absolutely retreating or are they falling back behind the, the concealment of the walls here? You don't know exactly what's happening, and this is all happening as within a few seconds, one motion. So this is completely justified. If we waited another few seconds, moment to moment, things matter. But right now in this moment, yeah, this is justified, and the fact that they turned so quickly, this is the way the human body works.
And you might end up in court or to a DA needing an expert witness to explain that, explaining how human performance works. The fact of the matter is, he's just shot the first guy, sees the second guy come in, and then shoots at him because he perceives that threat is still ongoing. So sometimes we need to explain that from human cognition and the way that things work. But this is justifiable conduct, no question there. Of course, we don't have any love lost for the dirtbags. Now let's think about coming out here, and I kind of feel like he might think here, all right, wait a minute, he's a cop, and so he's got to do cop things. And if you're an off-duty cop and you feel like you got to do cop things when you're off duty, okay, fine, they're not paying you for that. You're not getting paid in that moment. I think you should act as a private citizen. And me as a private citizen, man, I just don't think I'm coming out here to see what's going on and take these guys into custody, specifically because of what we see here, Steph.
This is a really complicated problem. He has the one guy that he doesn't have completely searched or subdued, and now he has the second bad guy coming back in. And we know that 2 bad guys are exponentially more difficult than just one bad guy, and he's not completely earned this space yet. Not to mention, in this video we don't see it, but in many other videos we've seen the good guy go out to pursue the bad guys like this and apprehend them and ended up dead for it. So thankfully we don't see that here, but this to me is a very complicated situation that could have gone badly really quickly. I'm grateful it didn't.
And thankfully it didn't, right? I mean, thankfully we didn't have that problem. I also want to note here, if we look, this guy has 2 holes in him. We can only see one of them right here where we freeze framed, but he's got 2 wounds in them. I'm gonna guess at least one of those is an exit wound, okay? Because I doubt that he got both of them in there that showed that much blood, which tells me in all probability he's probably using full metal jacket bullets, and this is why we use jacketed hollow points, okay? So unless you live in the People's Republic of New Jersey where that's not allowed outside your home, I can't tell you enough, a quality, useful, jacketed hollow point, and there's really good ones. I really think in this day and age, why wouldn't you use a Spear Gold Dot or a Federal HST? Those are probably the right ones to use for most people in most situations, because you don't want bullets passing through and then you continuing to have to deal with bad guys and post threats to the community.
Yeah, you want to hit what you're aiming at, you want that to stop the bad guy, and you don't want it then to go on and hit anyone else. Even if legally you're okay, that's not something you want to live with. So get something that will stop inside the bad guy if at all possible.
Yeah, and so listen, I'm not telling you which ones to buy. Of course, Lucky Gunner's been a longtime partner. We love them. Their ballistics testing is second to none, and they stock really good stuff, right? So listen, go get some good stuff. And I think our cop here really did a fine job. I would encourage him to put 2 hands on the gun. We didn't really talk about that a whole lot. Putting 1 hand on the gun. I feel like Brazilian police are taught to shoot the gun one-handed, and that's a big mistake. If anybody is with the Brazilian police training, stop that trash right now. Pretty please with sugar on top. But listen, in an overall sense, he had the attitude, he had the skills, he had a plan, he covered his ass.